Can I tell you the real truth? Leaders don't know how to ask questions. Look, what you see is not talent, it's training. And so then I say, how can I be more present, be more seen, and be a protagonist of my life? And I understood that communication skills are everything. So success is to make it happen what is important for you.
Hello everyone in the podcast of success. Today I have Federigo
Gazzarrini.
Okay.
Exactly.
Leadership coach.
Yes, I am.
Leadership coach. What is this?
Well, I help entrepreneurs, business owners to better lead their team in order to save time. Because one of the lack of business owners out there in the real world is that they don't have trained the right communication skills. And one of them, the main one, is actually the art of asking questions.
Okay. Let's start from the very, very basic. You work with leaders. Do you think a leader is born or is created and is built with new skills?
That's a great question because be a leader is not a talent. Be a leader, you become a leader, you train to be a leader, and you train through good communication skills. That means the art of asking questions, tonality, and how to turn conflict into agreements, collaboration, and opportunities.
Okay. Conflict. Like, what is the main conflict or the main reasons why things go bad in teams? Like, what is the problem with leaders, Let's start from the head and the person who is responsible for everything.
Can I tell you the real truth? Leaders don't know how to ask questions. That's why they come to me to train this art. Because asking questions is an art. It helps you to persuade people, to engage people, to make people feel important, seen, and mainly be part of something bigger than just a company.
Are you really a leader if you ask questions? Should you not just give orders?
Well, that's something very common out there. People think that if you're a leader, I have to be very authoritative, I have to say what people have to do. But if you do like this, you waste time of your years, of your human being existence in this planet, explaining to the people, to your employee, to your business partner, the same thing over, and over. If you ask questions, they will say what to do. You make them part of the process. They will see that they are part of it. So they will understood what is the real answer to this and how to make it work with you.
What is exactly a leader?
Well, a leader is somebody who's put at the center the people that has in front of them. So that's why a leader doesn't say what to do, but help the people in front of them to understand how to do the process. So engage them, help them to understand and to help them to also improve the process through real feedback they can have from the people that work with them.
Let's go a bit more advanced. How can I, as a leader, turn conflict in my team or with my employees or with partners, collaborators, etc.? How can I turn it into agreement?
Look, that's a great question. Let's start to align meanings. What is a conflict? A conflict is when two people have different ideas. And that creates divergency, so they doesn't help to be aligned on what have to be done. Now, a good leader, instead of arguing, instead of telling them, look, I don't care, we're going to do like this, that's my company, that's how it works, it will ask them, okay, so first of all, what do you mean by that? In what way though? How did you get to this conclusion? So it will make, like I say, the employee feel seen, important. It will make the employee feel part of something bigger that is not just a place to work, but it's a place where we can grow together.
You mentioned the word leader and employee to make the company grow. Who is more important, the leader or the employee in a company? Or is it a combination?
Well, that's a great question because there is no leader without employee and there is no employee without leader. So they're both part of something that is called company. They're both a part of something that can help grow personally, professionally, and economically, financially. So that means the employee obviously have to follow the house rules, the rules of the company. On the other hand, the leader have to make sure they understand the needs of their employee. Otherwise, what happens most of the time will be a high turnover. You have to all the time find new people, train new people. It's a waste of time, and you don't let your company grow.
What is the first thing that leaders tell you when they contact you, when they have a problem or they need your services or your training?
Most of the time is, I want to better negotiate, I want to better lead my team, and so on. Obviously, then we find out that there are several problems inside of their company, such as people that don't follow what they say, people that leave the company after 3 or 6 months, or people that are valuable and they get fired because they are not aligned on collaboration. And at this point, I will try to understand how they communicate with them. Because there is one thing that's very important in communication. It's not like many people say out there, it's not important what you say, it's important how you say that. Yes, of course, absolutely. But it's even more important how you make the other feel when you say that.
Can you expand a bit more?
Well, a leader usually should ask more question than do statement. But before to ask a question, ask yourself as a leader. The question I'm going to ask to my employee, how is going to make them feel? It's going to make them feel capable or incapable. It's going to make them feel smart or stupid. It's going to make them feel seen or unseen. It's going to make them feel competent or incompetent. It's going to make them feel understood or not understood. That's the main question the leader out there in the real world, they should ask themselves before to ask something to their employee.
With what you've seen, what kind of leadership works best? Dictatorial or tolerant with the team?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you. Because leader obviously should find a balance that is tailor-made on their personality. The balance between being tolerant and being authoritative. I see out there many leaders, they're too tolerant, too soft, and that doesn't work because you need to have boundaries, right, in the company, mainly in your house. You need to make the house rules. On the other hand, you cannot be too authoritative, too many rules without understand your employees' needs. So it have to be a mix, the good measure between tolerance and authoritativeness.
I have a lot of friends who are young entrepreneurs and new entrepreneurs, like 20, 25 years old, 23 and stuff like that. And the new generation is kind of soft, you know, as you said, very tolerant. They tend to be from creative industries, you know. For example, let's say he was a designer, he made some money, he started a company. So he is very creative, he doesn't care about authority and stuff like that. But he has very much trouble with the team because he doesn't have authority, he doesn't know how to set boundaries, etc. How can this beginner entrepreneur start to put his authority in place, you know? Not to get too much, but how can he start with small steps to do this?
Absolutely. So authoritativeness, mainly for the new generation, that they are kind of soft,
Yes.
right? They have a hard time to put boundaries. It's something, it's a big topic nowadays because it comes first from their confidence.
Okay.
So what they need to build, and that's what I do with them, is to start to build their confidence through an internal dialogue that is constructive. That doesn't criticize them too much, but they start to ask themselves questions. They help to better know themselves and so the people they have in front of them. Because you cannot understand others if you first don't understand yourself.
Is this something that it's natural to you, or did you train it? Like this leadership style, this training style, coaching others?
Look, what you see is not talent, is training. Actually, in my younger life, let's say a few years ago, I had a lack of confidence. I suffered of low self-esteem. I had problem with anger management. And because of that, I lost friends, I lost partners, I lost even a job because I didn't know how to handle conflict. And because of that, I went deep down. I want to understand where anger comes from, how to manage conflict, how to turn them into agreements, collaboration, opportunities. And now I'm the one who help a lot of entrepreneurs to master conflicts, to master the team management, and be the leader they always wanted to be.
I want to get a little bit personal here. Usually people, when they do a big change in their life, something happened. Maybe they read a book, a mentor tells them something, or whatever, you know. What happened, or what made you change like this? Like become a completely new person, like very confident, very energetic, helping others, doing very good things for the community, you know, of entrepreneurs mostly.
Well, because I was tired of being not seen in some way. I was tired of having to scream or be out loud in order to make a point when I was in a meeting, when I was in a room, when I was with people, but even with friends. And so then I say, how can I be more present, be more seen, and be a protagonist of my life? And I understood that communication skills are everything. And actually, it's not even about using the right words. It's also master micro silences, micro pauses, just like now. They make you elaborate, internalize each word I'm saying. And where I don't speed up, because I'm confident that what I'm saying right now, it's usable to you.
I like to help aspiring entrepreneurs a lot. People who have not yet found a business, or also people who just started a business. Let's say they don't have enough money to hire someone like you, a professional like you. How can they start? Like, do you have any book recommendations or YouTube videos or something? Where can they start to master this leadership style?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, on YouTube is free of, there are a lot of free content that is very good, very valuable. So you can look for effective communication, you can look for leadership, you can look for, how to rise your confidence, build a stronger confidence. Absolutely. That's important. You get knowledge. Now, unfortunately, knowledge is not enough.
Yeah.
So the best investment you can do is in yourself. They will have always the highest interest. Will always come back on you. So once you can save some money, empty your pockets to fill your mind, mainly with skills that help you to grow faster and better.
Does the environment help also in this transformation? Like people you surround yourself with?
Yes,
for a
and
leader.
Sometimes for people that are not confident already, they will have a hard time to get in touch with people that are very confident, because obviously confident people don't want to stay around with not confident people. And that comes the hard truth. It's possible that you may need to isolate yourself for a few months. I'm not talking about a few years, but isolate yourself in order to don't be influenced or conditioned by people that will just ruin the mindset you're building to become a great leader and be the business owner you always wanted to be.
Why is it important to have a solitude period in your life?
Yeah, because look, when you isolate yourself, it's going to be hard. It is painful because it's you against you. In your mind, they try to save you energy. They don't want to make you an effort more in order to achieve more and make you realize what you want. On the other hand, it's a great opportunity because you better know yourself. You start to reprogram your inner voice, your inner game, your internal dialogue. And they help you then to communicate externally better with others and the world.
What are some ways you can reprogram yourself? Do affirmations work?
Well, it does. Obviously, the best is always to do mentoring, coaching with somebody who master communication skills. On the other hand, you can start by yourself with asking what I'm saying to myself. Is it functional or dysfunctional? Is it going to help me to get where I want to go, or is taking me far from where I want to go? So you can start to ask yourself good question. They help you to better understand if the direction is good or is wrong.
You told me there are mainly two reasons why leaders contact me. It's either pain or desire. Can you please expand a little bit on that?
Well, when entrepreneurs, business owners call me and contact me because they have a pain, because usually is they have too much turnover, or they have too many conflicts in their company, too many, let's say, misunderstoods, okay? How's they like to call it? Because obviously there is some ego, they don't want to open up right away. So I say, look, because my employee, and they point fingers out, and that's fine. Now, once we are on the consultancy, we are on the session, they start to point the fingers to themselves. They start to take accountability, the same accountability that they look in their employees, in their company. And with me, they start to put the mask down, and they start to doubt about themselves and say, well, maybe as I communicate nowadays, as I'm doing right now, is not the best way. And they start to ask me and be curious about how can we do better? What communication models I can implement in order to be a better leader.
What is easier to sell? Which prospect? Someone who has a pain or someone who has a desire to change?
Well, for sure, with no doubts, as we know, we are also, very expert in sales. The pain because it's something that doesn't allow them to sleep at night, or maybe they will go to sleep, but they're not satisfied about themselves. They're not proud about themselves. And obviously they may feel respect in the company, but they don't feel appreciated. And a good leader wants to be respected and appreciated by their employees.
Like, what is the fastest change you've seen with your eyes, with a leader who had very big pains and they made a huge transformation with themselves, with your help?
Well, I remember an Italian guy, Natale, that he actually came to me thinking that he was leader. He was like doing his job at his best as an entrepreneur, but the problem were some, not all, but some of his employees. And then it happened that he realized, while I was asking questions, he became more aware that his communication structure was not the best. And so he started from being respected because some of them were fearful of him and to be appreciated by their team. And he started to have from a lot of conflicts to a lot of collaboration, a lot of engagement by his employees. It was a big transformation because it happened in a few months, and I just enriched his communication models with a new one. They help him to enrich his thought horizons, to enlarge his thought horizons, and see things from different perspectives, and how these new communication skills could benefit not only him to save time, energy, and money from the turnover, and benefit also his employees. They were more motivated and happy to come to work every single day.
You mentioned communication skills. What other skills will you help you in your leadership style if you learn them or if you make them better, Because I think everything is connected, right? Leadership is a skill. But I think there are also other skills together or close to it that if you are good at them, also your leadership style or your leadership skill will automatically increase, right?
Absolutely. For sure, mindset. Mindset, they have to be always action-oriented, result-oriented. Have to be always, for each problem you find in the company, you need to have 3 solutions. And they have to be always like this. You need to be set on as a problem solver, you have to be solution oriented all the time, and they help you to be more optimistic and positive about the work and what's happening in your company.
Okay, what about another skill?
Another skill is conflict management. So it's not just communication skill, it's not just mindset, but it's also about conflict management. You need to know how conflicts are created, how to manage them, how to overcome them. And that means to start to know better yourself, what your anger means when something goes wrong. So before to talk to your employee because he didn't do job as you wanted, start to ask yourself, what is my responsibilities? Why my employee didn't work as I wanted? What should I have asked different? What should I have said different?
After training hundreds of entrepreneurs or leaders yourself, after making money, after a very good career and stuff like that, even though you are still growing, right? But let's say until now, what you've done. What is success to you? Like, what do you call success?
That's a beautiful question. Thank you. So success is to make it happen what is important for you. Nothing else and nothing more and nothing less. Success is making happen what is important for you. So I'm asking you, what is important for you? For you, it's important to make money, to take your family three times on vacation every single year. Or for you, maybe you don't have a family now, but it's important to make more money to retire your parents. Or for you, maybe success is to have more free time for your kids, to spend and invest with your kids in experiences. Or for you, maybe success is to go back home with less stress, less frustration, more energy, to be more present with your family members.
This is the favorite question in the podcast. Federigo, you are sitting in front of the mirror and you see Federigo 15 years ago. And he is also looking at you, He's looking at you, a very good person, communicative, persuasive, helping other leaders make a change in their life. What do you think he would say to you?
Well, myself of 15 years ago,
Yes.
if you could see me now in the mirror,
Yes.
would see myself, would be very proud, very excited at the person I am now,
Okay.
and see myself as somebody who can share his own experience, even my success, my failure, and realize how all of those failures helped me to build the person I am today. With my principle, my values, my ethic, and mainly the confidence that I can share and spread out there and show people how you can live relationship at work, at home, whenever you meet somebody in a different way.
And what would you say to him, you today, to Federigo 15 years younger?
Well, I will thank him to make me feel uncomfortable back at the time, to make me feel not seen, to make me feel not confident. Because nowadays, when I have somebody that has these feelings, I can understand them. I can deeply understand them. And I can connect with them because I know what they're talking about. With the experience helped me so much to be not only the person I am today, but also to better connect and understand all those people that nowadays are not yet the person they want to be.
What is the best advice you have ever gotten that stuck with you like forever,
Absolutely. That's a great question. The best advice I receive, don't believe on anything you hear and only half of what you see, because the other half is an illusion.
Federico, do a lot of leaders lose clients because of misunderstandings?
Well, leaders lose big clients, all right? Because obviously they don't take off all the clients. They have the team. But the big one, they lose mainly partnership, let's say, big partnership because of misunderstanding, because of miscommunication, because they don't align. First of all, the first mistake is they don't align on meanings. When a client of you say, look, I didn't like X, Y, Z, the first thing you should do as a leader, to give a good example to your team, is show them how to handle it and say to your important partnership or client, whatever it is, okay, what do you mean when you say X, Y, Z? Or in what way though? Or when you say X, Y, Z, what do you mean actually? So align on meaning is very important. Why? Because you try to understand what is the meaning that the other person, in the case your partner, business partner, or your client, has attribute to what he say. And if you don't do this, you then talk about two similar things, but they're not the same one. And that's where comes misunderstanding. They are the best beast, the black beast of each relationship, at work, in family, and relationship.
Federico, I know a lot of people do business alone and a lot of other people do business with partners, right? But with partners, there are a lot of conflicts. In your opinion, is it better or more successful to be alone a lone founder or to be a co-founder with someone else? What are most successful companies doing?
All right, look, if you have good communication skills, it's better to have, obviously, business partners.
Okay.
You share the good and the bad moments. Now, if you still don't have those communication skills, your business partners will turn and change every single year. You're gonna be alone. And you may not have any willing to improve your communication skills, so good, stay alone. But if you want to do partnership, if you want to have a business, a co-founder with you, you need to work on your communication skills. You need to be very good at question. You need to be very good at put your ego on the side. Because I'll tell you something, your success as a business leader is on the other side of your ego. Is exactly on the other side. And when I say ego, I mean it's on the other side of your fears. It's on the other side of your insecurity. It's on the other side of the hard time that you have when you have to say, I'm sorry, I apologize. It's on the other side when you need to push back or do a step back and say, look, that was my fault, my responsibility. Is exactly on the other side.
I want to stop a little bit here. You said you know when to step back. Because we have, maybe in Albania, I would say, we have this concept that a leader is someone who just keeps pushing all the time. A true leader, is it someone who also knows when to step back?
Yes, absolutely. You make a very good point. A true leader is when he knows what are also his boundaries. And his boundaries, yes, they protect him. On the other hand, they need also to protect the other person next to him or to her as a leader. And that means that in order to take care of the relationship, the people that work with you and not for you, but with you, because you are a team. You are a team leader, but you're part of a team. A leader is part of the team, is inside of the team. It's not an external, individual out there. And that means that you need to be able to show them as a role model how to handle when you do mistakes first. So happens something you didn't do properly, say, look, I take full responsibility. I take accountability of this. Guys, it was my bad. Now, how can we solve this together? That's what a good leader do.
You keep saying, ask the right questions. Asking the right questions is an art of itself, Can you please expand on that? Because I'm very curious about this.
Absolutely. Now, let's start from the first point. Human being has been programmed to save energy. In order to save energy, your brain doesn't automatically go with the co-pilot, and instead of elaborating a question, do a statement. Because when you do statement, you don't need to, it doesn't implicate much energy. When you do a question, you may take a second more. You need to elaborate the question. You need to process the question. You need to understand the direction where you're going. But that second word allowed you to create a real connection, a real relationship, that you really feel present for the other person because you engage them. What that means, is you against you. Your mind tells you to do a statement, and you need to reprogram your mind. You need to train your mind to say, no, I'm not going to do a statement now. I would love to shout out there, and be loud. No, I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to make the other feel important. I'm going to make the other feel recognized in order to solve this together.
Okay, very nice. Federigo, how can a leader know that he needs your help?
Well, when a leader start to see that in the company there is too much turnover, and he start to blame too much their employees, and see that those employees are they don't follow the rules, they don't follow what I say, they don't follow me, or when they start to see too many conflicts, too much tension, too many misunderstanding. A good leader, a smart one, should have the beneficial doubt of asking himself and say, well, maybe am I part of this problem? And if yes, what can I do? How can I improve and train my skills in order to create a better climate, a better vibe in my company? A more positive vibe, a more optimistic vibe, a more collaboration vibe, where everybody work together in the same direction.
Can you give me an example of like, how does it happen? For example, I am a leader, I contact you. How does it happen? Like, do we do a one-to-one mentorship like just once, or is there like multiple sessions with you? Like, how much pauses between the sessions? For example, we talk today. Like, how much time do I need to process what I learned from you until the next time we talk, you know? How does it work?
Okay, look, what I've seen, that 3 months is enough. As long as we train once per week, 45 minutes, and at each time, at each session, because they're tailor-made, they're personalized on what are your needs. I will ask you what happened. No, I mean, I will ask you, how was your week, and what would you like to discuss today? And you're gonna come up with what you're unsatisfied, what you are not proud of. You're gonna come up with those dysfunctional dynamics that you didn't work as you wanted, and we're gonna fix it up together. We're gonna make sure next time it's gonna work.
What is the best thing you heard from a client of yours after you worked together?
Well, the best thing was that they're not just their workplace, their company, the people that work in the company were more collaborative, they're more passionate, they were happy to come to work, but also their personal life improved. They start to have a great relationship also with their partners, with their kids, because communication skills is a transversal competence, skill that you can use in all part of your life, in your personal life, your professional life. So once you master it, everything change and everything start to go in the direction you always want it to be.
From what I understand, the impact that you are having is much bigger than you probably think, you know, in my opinion, because the leader comes to you, but in fact, the change is also happening in the employee's life. Because if you have a better leader, if you have a more communicative leader, if you have a more understanding leader, also your life as an employee, as a team player is much better because you'll feel understood, seen, you'll go home much happier, and also your partner will be much happier. So in fact, you're not changing only one person's life. In fact, you're changing a whole company's and a whole group of people's lives. So this is why I would suggest all the leaders to train on this and to invest in this thing.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. Because once I work on a leader, his skills will trickle down on everybody else. Yes. He will influence all the company, all the people that he works with, from the management and the management to the first line. And that means that everybody will have a good role model to follow and understood how to handle conflicts, not only at work, but also in their personal life. So yes, also their employees' life will improve. They will not only be happy to come to your company at work, but they will also have a good personal life with their family, with their partners, because they understood the statement. When you do statements, you're weak. When you ask questions, you're strong. And that's how you make the relationship work. You're asking to me, oh, look, how can I improve? What can I do better? What can I do different? That's the point. Ask not only to yourself question, how can I improve, but also ask somebody else, somebody external that can help you do better, finger those areas that you can improve, that you can train more. It's all about training. It's not talent, it's training, communication. So let's stop with all this bullshit about, no, I'm not talented. No, because, I haven't grown in a family environment where my parents, didn't teach me, how to properly communicate, because you can train that. It's like the gym. You go to the gym, you get bigger as long as you go constantly and you ask feedback to your personal trainer. The same with communication. Makes sense to you or no?
Yeah. How much time did it take you to get better at communication?
Look.
To get good?
Yeah, to get good communication, as long as you work first on your self-esteem. Because people work on communication skills, but they don't work on their self-esteem, on their confidence.
It's not literally just the skill. It's something deeper, right? It's something inside.
Absolutely. Communication comes from the inside, from your internal dialogue, or from your inner voice, inner game. That's where it comes from. Once you reprogram that part, everything comes naturally. Your external communication with others, the world, is more efficient, is more effective, but comes from the inside and go to the outside.
Okay, you said you have to change the way you talk to yourself. Can you give me an example how you talk to yourself today and how would you talk yourself when you were not this good?
before, for example, was criticizing me a lot. I was very harsh with myself. I had like a strong inner voice. Then it was not constructive. It was making me feeling just bad. And then also what happened, how much was criticizing myself is how also I was criticizing the people next to me, my co-workers, my business partners. Now, if you want to be constructive out there in the real world with others and the world, so people that you already know and the people you meet every day daily, you need to first work on yourself. Work on how you talk to yourself, and that makes a huge difference. You know what I see out there a lot is that people had a huge ego, but that ego often hiding a lot of insecurity, fears, and actually it's seen out there as like, that guy is too authoritative, is too aggressive. In reality, that guy is very insecure. In reality, the guy never worked on his confidence, but tried to put this mask of, I'm God, I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm saying. But deep down, there is no structure. There is no a solid confidence. That's why once you know more human beings, the psychology of human being, the psychology of human brain, you understood how there are out there so many masks. There are infinity masks. And they are used to protect themselves, the people. On the other hand, it doesn't create authentic relationship. So that's why it's important to understand how to put those masks down and really connect with people, with our fears, insecurity, with our weaknesses, and be good at asking questions and see how we can improve, grow together.
If you get better at leadership skills,
Yeah.
does that help you with women?
Absolutely. Leadership is something that will help you also if you're single, if you need to find a new partner, because it's attractive. Leadership is when you understand that you are not at the center of the world, but the people that you have in front of you is. And when you feel a woman important, because you do less statement, you ask more question, you ask the good question, not question that interest you, but the question that interests the other person.
Do you think women are more interested in statements or in questions?
Women are fascinated by statement for sure. So if you make a point with confidence, they like.
Yeah.
Absolutely, no doubts. On the other hand, when you with a question, you make them feel
Challenged?
intelligent,
Okay.
seen. You make them feel capable. It's open a word, because women in their voice is often too critical. They criticize themselves a lot.
Okay.
And when they see there is a man that can help them to see their qualities, their
Validate.
skills, and give specific compliments to them, they feel that they're with the right person.
We live in a time where we hear like feminism and stuff like that, strong women, strong independent women and stuff like that. Do you think women deep down don't want to be, do you think women deep down, even though they say, I want to be strong, independent, stuff like that, they just want a man who is strong and a good leader, you know?
Absolutely. They tend to complement women what they don't find in men. So nowadays, this is the epoch of insecurity and fear. Fear and insecurity. The people out there in the real world are very insecure and fearful. This is the epoch of loneliness. But not the loneliness because you live alone, but the loneliness because you feel lonely, even though you are in a relationship, because you don't feel understood, you don't feel seen, you don't feel important with the person you're with, to the person you're with. And so leadership, it will help you to overcome so many misunderstandings. It will help you to put the person you're with as a protagonist of the relationship, and will make you feel present in the relationship, because you stop doing statement, you stop answering, and you start asking. You start engaging the other person in the relationship and taking decision together and start to go in the same direction, because you both took the decision to go in that direction.
What about parents and kids? No? Would you be a better father if you know how to lead, how to ask questions, how to be empathetic with your kids?
Absolutely. I work a lot in the past with parents and teenager son or daughters. And what I've seen is that often the teenager doesn't follow what the father or the mother say because those parents, they don't know how to ask the right question. They don't know how to engage their son or daughter in the conversation. Or when they ask a question, they're too judgmental or too accusatory. Or they ask a question, they already have an answer in it. And so the other one feel that you're the intent is not really to engage, to be engaged in what is going on, but it's just to lead and give a direction. No, you need to take a direction together. You need to understand first what the other person is feeling and how we can overcome together.
You work with conflict management.
Yeah.
One of the things
Correct.
you do. Like, let's say an employee comes to the office, to the leader, to the boss, let's say, and says, I don't like what you're doing, or I don't like the task that you gave me. How should a leader handle this situation,
Look, first of all, the leader have to understand that this is happening is not happening to you, but it's happening for you. So it's testing you to see how you react as a leader. Now, you don't need to be reactive. You need to lead the situation. And that means, first of all, you align meaning. You answer with a question. That's because we say before, when you ask question, you're powerful. When you do statement, you're weak. And you want to be powerful, and you want to lead as a real leader. And so you will ask, okay, so help me to better understand what you mean when you say you don't like the task I assign you. Or what do you mean by that? Or in what way though? You say that you don't want to do this task. So first I line on me and say, no, because X, Y, Z. All right, but so what do you think is important now to do? Because we have these clients that need to have this in place. I think we should, okay, and what else you think we could do? So through question, you help them to, first of all, go from a state of anger to a state of, don't worry, I see you. I understand you're important. You are part of the process. You're engaged in the process. Let's make it work together.
Yes, bro, but what about the part that the leader should show his borders, Because you're being empathetic. You're asking questions, why and this and that. If you want to criticize an employee, should you do it in front of the team so other people also learn from that? Or should you do it in private, maybe in the office?
All right, look, the best way is obviously to do a one-to-one. All right, never criticize in front of others because you easily rise a conflict. You easily, a potential conflict become a conflict. So make sure that if you need to give feedback, mainly strong feedback, so let's say negative feedback, even though feedback are always positive, as long as they are delivered in a constructive way, do privately. Because in that way, you create a protect and safe environment where the other person feels comfortable, you can ask the right question, he can open up, and from there, you can just grow together and go in the same direction.
So you criticize, okay, in private.
Yeah.
What about praising? Should you do it in private, like to do compliments for a good work? Should you do it in public, in front of the team, or in private?
Well, that is a very good question. Because actually, when it's good feedback, give in front of everybody.
Okay.
Because in this way, people will say, well, I would like to be that person next time. We'll get a nice feedback and where my work is recognized, seen, where my work, has been delivered good. And I want to feel also proud of it in front of others. So absolutely, when you need to deliver good feedback, do in front of everybody. When you have to deliver bad feedback, do privately, possibly one-to-one, in order to better clarify what happened and see together how to get a different direction to make it grow.
Federico, where can leaders find you or contact you?
Well, leaders can find me on Instagram. They can just write down Federigo with the G, Federigo.leadership. And then you find a lot of contents. I see, you can see how I help even people that works on sales to have a stronger communication skills in order to close more deals. You can see also entrepreneurs, business entrepreneurs, manager, how they finally are followed by their team, and they have people that finally work not for them but with them in order to make the company grow and see and finally all work in the same direction.
Now, I would like to close with a message from you to the young leaders, to the young generation of entrepreneurs. What would you like to say to them, and what would you like them to learn from you? Like, let's say, all your content, all your trainings, hypothetical, like go lost. Let's say internet is broken, you know. What is one thing that you would like people to remember from you? The best advice.
The best advice is this. Do not care about what you say. Do not care even about how you say that. But do care about how you make the other feel when you say that. And ask yourself one question before to talk to somebody. Am I gonna feel, how is that person is gonna feel when I'm gonna ask this question? How is the person is gonna feel when I do this statement? And how I want to make them feel when I ask this question or when I do this statement. I want to make them feel capable or incapable, understood or not understood, seen or not seen, intelligent or stupid. How do I want to make them feel?
Wow, I loved it. Federigo, thank you very much. This was a free mentorship for me, but also for you who are listening. I suggest you go follow Federico on Instagram, and you must book with Federico, because he will change your life and the whole company's life, company members' lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and have a great day.